Hello everybody, here I'm having a look at the knife that a fixed blade that very quickly has become one of my all-time favorite fixed blades. It is the Bill Moran from Spyderco. In fact, there are two versions of this one with an upswept point and one with a drop point like this. I think this one looks a bit better, and this is actually a limited edition, a sprint run as they call that, with this orange colored handle, which in some way I think makes it look more utilitarian and less aggressive, if that's important for let's say your environment. Actually I believe this is one of the two in fact the first fixed blade I believe that Spyderco made, because in fact the upswept one is called FB01 and this one is called FB02. So I think these are the two original first fixed blades that are still being produced because they are so lovely. If I'm not mistaken, the very early ones didn't have that trademark Spyderco hole, which of course doesn't have a function here, but this is more to denote the family. It's like the Mercedes star, the BMW kidneys, you know. You don't have to think more about that. So yes, it's not useful, but it's okay. It's part of the identity. So actually I discovered how much I like this when I took it on a trip with a camper van last holiday, and I use it for a lot of cooking and some other tasks. Actually, before that, in previous holidays, what did I cook with? Well, my big knife to cook was always the awesome Open L12, which is a fantastic knife and which still has actually a bit the edge, so to speak, in length. But okay, now I thought a fixed blade is still nicer for cleaning. What else did I bring? The Bokeh Rhino, which I already discussed, a lovely thing, which is nice for smaller things, and also, well, still the Open L7, the small, which is thinner, and as you know, when you're into cooking, thinner is usually better. So, but I found out that this one I loved a lot, and I was actually surprised that I liked it so much. And originally, before I bought it, I thought, is this, because this is a lightweight, non-full tang, we come back to that, but is that really better than this wonderful, very cheap, main price of a CD, cheap Mora from Sweden, which is also a very good universal knife? Well, actually, yeah, I like it. I mean, the Mora is fantastic, definitely at the price, but this one is just right. It is so masterfully designed. Before I give a bit more background, a few cold hard facts. Steel VG10, made in Seki City, which, well, it doesn't say, it simply says Japan. So, but anyway, probably in Seki City. This is one of the Japanese made Spydercos. They're always well made, VG10 being a very good steel, and quite stainless. I would, what I noticed with one of my blades, when you're near the sea, you could say the silty air, and if you're sweating a lot in the heat, then wipe VG10 dry, because then it can rust. I found that out. What else? Around 20 centimeters long. I forgot to measure this. I think it's 3 millimeter. It looks like 3 millimeter. So good combination between sturdy and sliceability. Nice flat ground, which I usually prefer flat ground for the kind of stuff I do. The total blade length is 10 centimeter. In fact, I believe 1 millimeter less to keep it within legal limitations, and the cutting edge is 86 millimeter. So and then, very interestingly, the weight only 84 grams, and indeed it's very light and very well balanced here. It's deliciously light. I mean, many folders are heavy. And how is it so light? Well, it's not full tang. Full tang meaning, like here you see the Rhino, means that actually the knife is one lump of metal with scales for your grip on top, so which is of course always the sturdiest thing. If you're going to chop wood, then you need full tang, but when do you really need that? Now here, actually this is also now a shout out, you could say. Oh, wait a minute. This is actually from taken from Virtuovice's channel. That is, I think, is one of the very best knife reviewers on YouTube. He's from Japan, and he does very clever things like comparing sharpening methods under the microscope. And also here he put some knives against an X-ray machine. So here you can see that this one it's not definitely not full tank. It's quite similar to what that Moran that I just showed you is. So the blade is a tiny bit inside the handle, and then that full bit, and then there is a smaller stick. But actually, if the camera focuses on it, it probably doesn't. There is a thin stick with some holes, you could say, in it, so that the synthetic material still has a good purchase. What does this mean? Well, this means that this is a perfect knife for using, but it's not designed for abusing. If you think that you're going to chop wood with it, I always wonder why you should do that, why you don't use an axe then, or because my personal view is that some of these very hard use tests are more to show, look what it can do, look what it can handle, but is that realistic? I think if you use this knife as a knife, it will definitely be very reliable and give you a lot of joy for a very long time. So use it for all kinds of cutting. Don't use it to try to chop that old tree in your backyard. So if you're into bushcraft and you want to do really extreme survival, yeah, then maybe you want a fixed blade. But for general use, like camping in general, and also the fact that it's so light, to have this on a walk for various use and for pure cutting, it's fantastic in my opinion. So what else? It is designed by Bill Moran. So the model is indeed called Moran, and he is dead since a few years. He is one of the most famous custom knife makers actually in recent times in America. The creations that he made, they fetch really a lot of money. I think typically above $10,000. So they're really well sold out because he was so talented. He was also is also credited of bringing, you could say, Damascus blades back to high popularity with custom knife makers. He really spent a lot of time on that, and it is said that on this blade, that this is only Spyderco collaboration. Well, this one and the variant with the upswept tip, he spent really a lot of time before he was just happy with it. He was really happy with this case, and it's easy to see why. This is totally classic, I think. So this is one of the old Spyderco knives still being made. Well, the generic one is in black, but I think they will still make it within 10 years. It's totally classic and unbeatable. You see, very light. I mean, not even 90 grams. So the material here of the handle, it's well, I think it's FRN, so you mean that synthetic material that the Delica and the Endura basic versions have, which here is ground slick, but to give extra grip, there are here inserts which are black, and here you can really see that in the classic Moran, which is totally black, it's difficult to see, but you really feel these insets that they are add more grip. So I mean, you really have a good grip in short. Typically, well, you can hold it like this. If you get really big hands, maybe that this one is a bit hard here, this edge, the tip there, but normally it's okay. You can also take it pretty close, but watch out for here the end of the cutting edge. But if you need to take it close, you can see how nice the design is. The sides here are a bit under an angle, so that your finger can really rest in a natural way, while if it would be thick, it would not feel so nice. So really, you can feel in this kind of thing that they really spend time on it, on this design. And yeah, like I mentioned, it's fantastic for various things. I did some to cut some ropes, for example, and indeed for food it was also fantastic. You can also use it to carve in wood. It will be perfectly okay for that, but like I said, well, not for chopping. So what else? Well, it comes with a sheath. Looks like Kydex. It isn't, however. It's a synthetic material called Boltaron. which, well, probably is pretty much similar. Notice that here this it's not a tech lock, but it's a belt loop. You can actually mount that in a few different ways if you like. So, and what is fantastic with this knife, it is really a very satisfying click, you could say, to put in place. It will never fall out. It's totally dependable. Notice also the profile is pretty thin, so I've since a short while a nice bag that I will take for typically for photography and for walks in general. And well, if you I would perhaps take then the clip off and just put it like that in one of the compartments of the bag for general use while in nature. It's perfectly thin, really nice. You see, really good sheet. And actually, this is still one of the more affordable Spydercos. It's probably the cheapest fixed blade from Spyderco. Well, unless there are maybe some of those weird small ones, but for a full-size knife, this is really good quality price, you could say. And yeah, Seki made, I mentioned it. You know, it's well made. The Japanese Spydercos are really well made, and it makes so much sense, this knife. That's what I like about it. It's sensible. It is no nonsense. It just performs like a Spyderco should do and always does. I really recommend this strongly. I think it's because, well, it depends. I'm not that heavy user. I'm a user for sure, but I will never chop a dead tree with a knife. I will never do that. Should I do that, I take an axe. If you're in but so if for a normal user this is perfect, and you can really wonder why pay more. Well, there are big full tang knife may look nicer, but it will add at least 100 grams then of weight, and this is perfectly portable. You won't even notice that you're carrying it. That's how light it is. So I think you can still find this limited edition with the orange, which I think is pretty cool. The black one, well, I had actually the brochure next to me, because then I didn't have to measure and the weight and the length and so on. This is the Spyderco brochure 2010. Look, it looks much more neutral in black. And I must say, when it was in black, it never really, well, simply the look seemed, well, a bit too utilitarian for me, and that was also why I wondered, will this now be really a lot better than a classic Mora? But here this limited sprint run, and they are still on eBay when I looked, well, run for it before they are gone. And so when coming back to that question, do I now prefer it over the Mora? Well, actually yes, I do. And it is especially the hand holding is even better. Well, the Mora is good, but it's especially for me the flat grind that I like so much. Well, this is the Scandi grind here, which is perfectly good. The flat grind is even better. The steel is also harder, and what I also liked and noticed that compared to the Mora, which I have also done food prep, and compared to my enormous open L that I use so often in the past, well, the blade itself is curved from beginning to end, like a chef knife, you could say. While here the open L, the curve stops here and is flat from there. And when you're actually doing food prep, this is easier. This is just nicer than having a flat edge, to be honest. Well, the Open L is also really good. Honestly, I think the Open L 12 is a fantastic outdoor cooking knife, which is cheap, price of a CD, like the Mora. You should have it. But coming back to the Bill Moran first fixed blade of Spyderco, I think they will keep on making it. It's so perfect, and it's a bit to finish a bit. I think I have the impression it's not talked about enough on the knife collectors forums, because maybe it's already a bit older. But and I have the impression that it is being bought non-stop because of the good quality price, but I have the impression that it's not the most fashionable knife, and well, I think it deserves it's a true classic. It deserves to be talked about more because it's absolutely perfect. So with this, I wish you a good day, and I hope I convinced you that this is absolutely perfect. This for general use. Take it on holiday, you will definitely like it. Feel free to leave feedback.